Hi, welcome back to Chris Dyer's Creative Friends, the super awesome podcast show where me, your artist friend Chris Dyer, interviews all his super awesome artist friends. So this week I'm in Miami, Florida. It's Miami Art Basel time, and I'm here to paint some murals for some events, but also to see other people's arts and some friends, including my guest today, Stella Strzyzowska. I probably got her name wrong, but she's an old friend that I made out here at different Basels throughout the years. She's a very beautiful person and artist that expresses in a very psychedelic manner. So I hope you enjoy our conversation together. Woo!
While the world is burning, got to make amends. Walk on the sunny side with a positive lens. Talks about passion between the women and the men. Chris Dyer and his creative friends. Darling, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Start going. Salud, Stella.
Cheers. Thank you for having me, or thanks for coming.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you for having me, but you're the guys who are having me over. We're in your beautiful home here in Miami, Florida. What's this neighborhood called?
Cutler Bay.
Cutler Bay.
Cutler Bay. We're near the water. It's like south of Miami, right before you get to Homestead, which is right before the Keys.
It's super beautiful. Everybody who lives around here lives in paradise with palm trees and flowers and sun every single day.
Yeah, it's chilling. It's
Did
good.
you grow up here?
Yeah, I grew up, well, most of the time, like a few streets down, and then other than that, in Miami, just a little bit north of here, but not far. Yeah, all in this area.
And whenever you go anywhere outside of here, you think that everything sucks.
Well, I mean, after I traveled a bit, I was like, damn, Miami's pretty nice. Like, the weather is just, that's my style. So it's just the right amount of humid, just the right amount of sun. It's good. Yeah.
Because you like the humidity.
Yeah, I like
Other people might disagree
Yeah,
with
I
the humid.
know. It's just, the dry is just, doesn't mix with me.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, I really like coming to Florida. I've come a million times ever since I was a kid. And now that I'm homeless, this is one of the possibilities for me to
Yeah.
look for a place to stay. So
It's paradise here. It's
yeah,
nice.
I'm enjoying it. And how is it living in Miami, like as an artist? Saying like, how is the Miami art scene? And
There's definitely stuff happening. It's really like you kind of get like used to Art Basel after a while, and you're just like everybody makes a big deal out of it. Some years you're just like, I don't even care about Art Basel this year.
you need breaks because
Yeah.
it's just too much energy.
It's just like it keeps coming,
Right.
It's like it's gonna be here next year.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, it's super inspiring. I watched Wynwood like start. It's like so. It's been a cool age that I was like, because Wynwood was not happening when I was like maybe in like middle high school started. So it's just been like really inspiring, and then having like community within Wynwood and that whole scene it's been good. It's been inspiring and a lot of things happening, but I'm still find myself in my studio a lot, just
Right.
kind of like hermiting it up.
But it must be like every time Basel comes, you only gotta do a short drive
Oh,
to
yeah.
see all the art fairs, the best artists running down on the streets, a million opportunities. Seems like being an artist in Miami at least must be a big advantage because the whole art world comes here to do a flex and to
Yeah.
some opportunities.
Yeah, and I think I'm just totally spoiled and haven't even realized like until I get out of Miami I realize like it's great, and it's like every year like when I do get to go out and go to the shows, it's amazing, it's awesome, so I love it. Yeah.
Nice. But you're like, I'd say like the art that's mostly popular here would be contemporary or even
Yeah.
street art, not so much visionary art,
Yeah,
right? Like, and
yeah.
would you consider yourself a visionary artist or a spiritual artist?
Yeah, I would say I definitely fall into that category, and I also like to often contemplate what visionary art means, just so we don't always have to be painting like sacred geometry or, you know, the same things, because I think also visionary art is up to the viewer as well.
Right.
But, you know, yeah, I paint a lot of things that have to do with energy and spiritual experiences and visions and stuff like that, which definitely, and then like Amanda Sage being one of my painting teachers, it's like that lineage of visionary art, painting with light and the layers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's there's definitely, I mean, like Alex Gray and Amanda have shown at Scope, and there's been visionary artists, and like I feel like Rainier Gamboa is like this kind of like
He's that
this
style
nice
too.
medium between like worlds, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
like he's so visionary art, but it's
Right.
not like textbook visionary art, like,
Right.
but for me it's like
The term visionary art gets tricky because we throw it and then we can, like, our brain can associate it with the stereotypical, as you said, sacred geometry and stuff like that, chakra kind of things. But really, there's like a million interpretation you can go about it. You got the jungle Peruvian,
No.
shamanic styles. You got the, you know, the street art, interdimensional monster style that I lean
Yeah.
more towards. There's, you know, full-on psychedelia madness, but there's also just, further collective style. This is exploding galaxies
yeah,
style.
and then there's the blotter art stuff, and yeah, there's a wide variety. So yeah, I definitely fit into the visionary art.
Is there
scene,
much of
and
a visionary art scene here other than when those people from out of town come around?
yeah, I guess we have Moksha Family Arts Collective, which that's how I met you.
Shout out Trey Oraka.
Yes. And that has been like the hub for visionary art. So that's been,
They've been bringing that scene
Yeah.
here for over a decade, right?
yeah, so that's been like the roots of the visionary art scene here. And then amongst that, other than that, there's been a lot of like the burner community and like the Burning Man communities that have been building up here as well. And that's been more recent, but
They got the Love Burn here.
yeah, which is
Which-
great. I had a great time at
What is the Love Burn?
Love Burn is like, I guess it's at Virginia Key where the Art With Me was, and it's on the water, and it's like a recreation of Burning Man, you know, with all these different like art cars and weird stuff, and they burn stuff, and then, you know, I guess there's like different camps, and then there's a lot of bartering.
Do people
so-
camp there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And is everything for free? Maybe not
Yeah.
the entrance, but
Not the entrance, but everything else is for free.
there's
so
no
it's-
vending. It's just like
Yeah, so it's the same thing, and I did it. I Moksha had a gallery and the whole Moksha experience there in 2017.
okay.
That was awesome. It was great. I had the Moksha experience.
Yay.
Yeah.
Nice. It was cool to see Ray this weekend at the Art With Me festival there at the
Yeah.
Virginia Keys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to dance to Cultura Profetica,
Yeah.
and that's just when I just bumped into Amanda, and yeah, it was a good time
Yeah.
to see the old schoolers
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, that I would say Moksha has been foundational for just bringing together visionary community in the city. So that is probably, that's in my experience, that's the roots, and that's how I met Rainier Gamboa. That's how I met you, Alex and Allison, and Mark Henson.
Which year did we meet?
2015.
2015, when
Yeah.
it was in Wynwood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Art
and I,
Basel.
and I painted that mural outside. Huh?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the gun. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, like the love gun.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a great one. I think even John Salter came out and painted at some point. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tech. Yeah, so big ups to Ray and the Moksha family for bringing visionary arts to
Yeah.
Miami. But there's not too many locals doing it then, huh?
We do have like, I guess we have more local musicians than we do visual artists.
Mm-hmm. And in Florida in general, like you got Hula Wing Festival and Okeechobee, which are
Which
big,
has been good.
big festivals that
Yeah.
promote psychedelic culture.
And at Live Oak, Florida, where they do Halloween, they also have other festivals there, which have been like, it's a huge community of
Tipper and Friends. I
yeah,
think.
Tipper and Friends, Wani, which has had like all sorts, like what's it called, Leonard Skinner and all those people. But
Okay, some more classic rock stuff.
yeah, and the Allman Brothers and
I'd like that festival.
Phil from the Grateful Dead, Phil and Friends. That was the best. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's definitely like, there's heads out there too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you convinced me. I'm moving to Florida.
Yes. Yes, we'll start having tropical art parties.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Does it ever not nice weather here?
Just when it's raining,
Uh-huh.
which could be like during the summer, it's like a couple hours out of the day. But the thing about here is that it'll rain, and it could be storming here, and I could like call someone like a few blocks over, and it's like sunshine, so you're like, the sun will come out shortly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, the year that we met, 2015, you came to that show that we're exhibiting. I remember you telling me like, oh, I'm a student of Kariamba Day. And I was aware from her from a previous Moksha gallery.
Okay.
I think she was exhibiting with us. Tell me a little bit about being her student. What was this, like college or school?
College, yeah. I met her 2013, so 2 years before I met you, at Florida State University. I just met her at her solo show, and we like bonded and we hung out, and then I got into the Bachelor of Fine Arts program, and she kind of took me under her wing. I was like hanging on by a thread in school, so I was like wild and crazy, and she just like, she saw me and she saw my art, and she like connected with me, and she helped me out. She helped me get through a lot of hard things, and then I took a couple classes with her, and she introduced me to the Mish technique,
Okay.
which that was the beginning, and then she brought Amanda to Tallahassee, and I got to meet Amanda Sage, and then I went and did a workshop with Amanda after I graduated, and continued the Mish technique, and then I kind of gotten stuck into it, and I'm still doing it. But yeah, and then after that, Carrie's like we still hang out every year.
So she's your friend, but she's
She's
also
like my best friend.
your mentor.
Yeah.
She's a little bit older than you.
Yeah, she is.
She's like a teacher,
Yeah,
adult.
she's a teacher.
And she lives in Tallahassee?
She lives in Tallahassee.
Where is Tallahassee?
Tallahassee's North Florida.
Okay.
So it's very close to where they do huluing.
Okay.
It's like an hour away.
But you were studying under
So
her?
I studied under her, and then
Up there?
Up there.
Okay.
And then I graduated, and then I just kept hanging out with her, kept going up there, she kept coming down here. We've been to Tipper Friends together. And
Yeah, nice. What's she up to these days? She's such a great painter.
Yeah.
And she's visionary art, but more on the tip of like lowbrow,
Yeah.
right? Like a little bit darker.
Yeah,
kind
and
of
like
vibes.
maybe contemporary, or what's it, contemporary surrealism or something like that. I don't know.
I don't
Forgive
know
me.
the titles or boxes where
But
art
yeah,
fits in sometimes.
she does have a surrealist thing to her, but also, in my opinion, it's very visionary, So that's where like
Because it's psychedelic and surreal.
yeah, and then if you talk to her about the paintings, you're like, wow, like she's got a lot of downloads and a lot of stuff behind it, and the more you learn from her and talk to her, the more it's like all these stories come together, and you're like, wow. So yeah, she studied in Italy for materials and techniques, so she specializes in like certain materials and techniques, and I think her ex-husband was like an art restoration guy, so she has a lot of knowledge on like layers of oil paint and like how it all comes together, and the technical stuff. So that was really cool to get to learn from her. And then I did a workshop with her and Amanda. I don't know if you know that they did one together.
Okay.
Where we did Amanda's technique and her technique. So that one up there, that's her technique,
Okay.
Carrie's, versus Amanda's. So
Which is the difference between whites, you told me?
yeah, the difference between like using lead white versus casein, some art nerd stuff.
But important for those who do the Mish technique.
Yeah, and then she composes her images through like collaging, which is like her art practice,
So she does something on the computer first and then uses that as a
She's really into
reference?
I would rather do it that way, but she's more into like gathering. She just collects lots of like magazines and books and all sorts of things, and then she cuts out. Like you go into her studio and it's like all over the place.
Proper collage.
Yeah.
Like old school scissors and glue collage.
Yeah, and she'll put like pieces, and then like they'll like eventually end up together. She's just like sorting out all of the stuff, and it's definitely like her domain and her style. It's not really, it's not something that I am drawn to immediately to express myself. I'm really like a doodler and a drawer, and then I don't have a hard time with that. But yeah, so she was like she's just been foundational in learning about the art business, learning about like all everything, the whole thing coming together. So it's been like a blessing to have someone
Nice.
to look out for me. It's like
So great to have
miracle.
mentors and teachers and people ahead on the path to put us, forward along with them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I really got lucky. I was like a bit lost, so the timing was miraculous.
All right. Well, we were already hanging out quite a bit today, and we're having a conversation. So I hope I'm not repeating
You're
my
good.
questions too much. But tell me a little bit about your journey. You were telling me that you used to drink beer. You don't do that anymore, apparently.
Oh no, maybe never.
You used to be a wild rager,
Yes.
and psychedelics saved your life, or
Yeah.
at least adjusted and put you back onto a more righteous path. Tell me a
Yeah.
little about that.
I guess let's go back. Yeah, I was going through a lot of trauma in high school and just completely lost control of my life, and everything was just spiraling out of control. Every other day was like a huge mistake, and just I had an alcohol problem, and then I also was on ADD medication since I was younger, and that kind of like turned into an addiction. So simultaneously I was abusing like alcohol and drugs, and then
What's an ADD medication?
like Adderall or Vyvanse. They're like methamphetamines, so they get you like
A lot of kids do that
They
these
shouldn't
days,
be
huh?
giving it to kids, and
Right.
it was like if you have addictive tendencies and stuff, like it gets you like hyped up. So
Oh,
if
it
you
gets you-
start taking more of it, like you're like it's just like it was a slippery slope.
Seems like the opposite of what somebody with ADD would need, right? Because
Yeah.
the ADD person's like, hey. It's like, oh, have this thing that's gonna like make you even more energetic.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, but I was considered ADD, not ADHD, so I wasn't like hyper as much as I was like I was just like in my own world, not paying attention. But honestly, the drugs just made me like, I'd be at school and I'd like take it and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna create this project and not gonna listen in math class, like get super into whatever project I was in. So that's why in college it was really fun because I kept like I had more and more energy to keep creating, and I was so excited about all these creations, but it was like burning me out. I was like, I can't.
What's the negative effects of using those substances?
Well,
Sorry, my
No, you're
ignorance
good.
about it. I
No,
know.
you're good. You're good. I started having like stomach problems. Like it was like wearing my organs. It was like, and then I was having just really that was the problem. I had.
Is it depressive? I heard some people take that
Yeah,
and it
some
makes them
people
suicidal,
have.
right?
Yeah, some people have weird reactions. I did not have that. I had like very like. I'm gonna paint all night.
I want to do that shit.
Yeah,
I know some people in the festival scene.
that's why
do
I'm
it,
saying
huh?
it's a slippery slope because you can have really high, like, exciting times, but then it's like after a while, it's like you have to start creating those on your own. And if you depend on this medication to get yourself going creatively, then like, are you really an artist? And that was like kind of where I was like, am I gonna be like 50, like needing this drug to like keep making art? Like,
Right. What happened when you threw alcohol in that?
so it was like I'll give you an example. When it all stopped was I had been on like a 2-day binge up for 2 days, and then I went to a festival. And it was the Wani Festival where the Allman Brothers were playing, and I started drinking, and something happened. I just started vomiting, and I vomited for like 12 hours. And
12 hours of vomiting?
I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital, and I had been hospitalized before from this problem. So that's why I say the stomach issue. I started developing like an issue.
Is that possible?
Yeah, I was like vomiting nothing, and like I would try to drink water, and then it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. And then I remembered this drug, Amitrol. So somebody ran and got me this from Walmart, and within a few hours I stopped. I was like, okay, I don't have to go to the hospital. Oh my God, I'm alive. So that happened, and yeah, I was still crazy. So a few hours later, I had a psychedelic experience, and I saw the Allman Brothers, and like God spoke to me. It was like, never take that shit again. Don't take that Vyvanse.
What do you
Stop
mean
it.
you had a psychedelic experience?
I took psychedelics after vomiting for 12 hours.
Which one?
Yeah, LSD, and
But that wasn't your first time.
No. I was deep in that. Like I had started taking psychedelics, but it took a while for them to save my life. You know, I had taken them a good amount of times before that time, and that was when God was like, "You're done. Stop taking it. Like it's killing you." And then it was
Is that enough to stop sometimes, knowing that you should stop?
This time was the only time that something really told me like it was something. I guess it was after vomiting for so long.
Well, 12 hours of vomiting sounds like you pretty much died.
Yeah, it was. It felt like I had died, and then I was being reborn. I was like, I went home, and I was like, okay, I can't take that stuff anymore. And like, I was deeply addicted, so it was like hard to conceptualize. But like, something changed. Like, I was like, I'm not taking it. Simultaneously, somebody came by and was like, hey, you want these mushrooms? And I was like, yeah. So I took mushrooms, like a few trips by myself while I stopped taking that other stuff. And then it was like, yoga, that's your new pill. That's your pill. Like, so I started, you know, the way I would wake up and take my pill, I started waking up and just doing a class every day. And like, it was like this way for me to like kind of take the reins of my body and my mind and my focus. And I just didn't look back. I never took it again. And I just kept, I started with like, what was it? The weird one, Kundalini yoga.
Okay,
yeah.
Heart breathing.
Yeah, I was like into it because I liked how it like kind of like altered my consciousness or altered my mind state. So I was like, yeah, I like that one, gets me high, you know.
Yeah.
and then eventually I was just like, I want to get strong. So I started like doing more like vinyasa, interval workouts and stuff like that. But I kept like it as like this thing that was like, this is like my harness to the ground and like my harness to myself and my you know, because I was having these spiritual experiences. It's like how, like, you know, I met God and it was like, okay, I'm gonna still be an addict. Like it's not really adding up. So
sometimes you really need those really hard traumatic experience to slap you back into like
vomit your brains out into reality.
Yeah, get you back onto the positive side.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about acid, because you seem to really like acid, or at least that's what your art expresses to me very clearly.
Yeah.
Tell me what you've learned in that space. What for somebody who has not done it, what does it do to you?
Well, well, for me, it was definitely like I first experienced what meditation was, and I had never understood it. It was like, I just thought it was somebody just sitting and breathing. But like I had like, I'll give you an example. One of my experiences where I just kept breathing away tension, and like, I guess it could be abrasive. LSD could like make you feel all these like, you know, I mean, I'm sure, you know, you've gone through it with other psychedelics, but I kept breathing away tension until there was no tension left, and all of a sudden I entered silence. And I had never heard silence before. I was like, and then I was like, oh my God, this is what meditation was. And it like changed my whole world. And then a light came out of the sky and came down to me. It was like, are you ready to be part of the light? And I was like, fuck yeah. And there was like angels and Buddhas dancing in the clouds, right? And then I grew up and I realized I like painted that light, and there's like a Buddha, can't see it on the camera, Buddha and the angel there. So it's kind of like this, it's been a process. But yeah, so I met God. I understood what energy, like that we have there's a malleability to energy in our reality through our attention, our focus and all that. And physical stuff helped me with like a lot of physical stuff, helped me with like layers of like perception of like how I look and how I feel, all these things that like, it just changed my life, got rid of that. But also I had a lot of like orgasmic sexual experiences as well, which have been like a big theme in my art, expressing that and with my partner and like all the journeys we've had, but also like weird like third eye orgasms. I don't know if you've ever had that.
No, not really. Because I'm more of an ayahuasca dude, and when you're doing ayahuasca, you're just in the darkness with yourself. I don't think I would go up to my partner and vomit in her face or try to get in her. They're in their process, and I'm in mine. And
I still haven't done ayahuasca, so that's where we have different perceptions of
right. Well, that's why I ask you. I'm not a big acid person.
Yeah,
I've only done like 3 times, very selectively, and even that was a little bit. Not my vibration so much.
It could be edgy. It could be a little bit like...
It made me feel uncomfortable.
Sometimes.
As much as it was trippy and fun, then other points I felt uncomfortable in my body. And it kind of like kept on going for days after. And I just got schizophrenia in my family. So I'm like a little bit like careful how much I push my boundaries.
Yeah, and then like people that might be on the spectrum of bipolar, I've done like research, like LSD is just not like... It's it could be problematic for people that could be on spectral psychological issues. Like I read that mushrooms are the safest, then ayahuasca, and then like LSD. But yeah.
What would you say? Because sometimes people like poo-poo acid because it's chemical, but other people say that they meet God and they have huge spiritual shifts and upgrades. How do you see acid, which is a man-created substance, as a medicine from God itself?
Well, first of all, it's from ergotamine, which grows on rye, so it is mold-based. It was toyed with in a lab to take out the toxic. Don't quote me on everything, but it does originate from a source that, and it's in Alex Gray's painting with Albert Hoffman. It has like the ergotamine in the fields of the wheat.
Right.
So it does come from that, but also, I mean, we're all God, and God works through humans. I mean, and I just think it's really magical in the way that it's like you get this much, and it's gonna give you like a lot, and it's like locked into this paper. I think it's the Western world's medicine because it's, I mean, you could say technically smoking DMT is the Western world because it's the businessman's trip. You're in and out. but yeah, LSD I think I think it could be meant for the Western world.
It definitely did create a revolution in the West that got people to touch with a spirituality that was closer to what was happening in the East.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's like, you get a lot of people in the Western world trying to just do, this is just a thought, trying to maybe reappropriate other cultures when maybe they don't realize that LSD could be their culture. It's like homegrown. It's like, it's not from what's used in Switzerland, but it is like the...
It's something modern at least.
Yeah, it's the Western world's medicine, in my opinion.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it coincides with the Grateful Dead, and that's a big part of my life as well.
You're a Deadhead.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, I've been learning Dead songs, I guess, for like, I had a best friend in elementary school, and like her family were like hippies, and I was just like, I was my favorite house to go to. I was just like so happy. I was like, why can't my parents be like this? And then, yeah, like he had been teaching us songs, Grateful Dead songs, and then I grew up and I met my partner. We started tripping and listening to the Dead, and it was like life-changing. Like it's a big part of my life. It's everything. So then I realized, oh my God, I knew these songs. And then my name's Stella, and there's a song Stella Blue. So and then my collector is a big Deadhead, and it seems like the people that like my art are Deadheads, and it's coincides with all my experience, and it's kind of like we're just tapping into the same channel.
Right. Well, there's a resonance, obviously.
Yeah. And another funny story is like when I was a kid, my mom told me about LSD, and she was like, "It's this paper that has cartoon characters that make you see things that aren't there," and I was just like, she was like, "It's very scary." I was like, "Huh? That sounds great." And then I like made this painting of all these cartoon characters that got turned into blotter art, and I like manifested that paper without even trying. And I was like, it's like kind of just like it is what it is type shit,
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the, as much as I'm not an acid person myself, maybe I'm too sensitive for that, or maybe I haven't tried the right stuff with the right people in the right place. once again, going back to like being an ayahuasca dude, everything is there. The setting is very specific. The dosages are very careful. I think that, I guess the danger of acid is that you could get puddled at a festival and fucking lose your mind because
Take your clothes
kids are
off
just,
and be running on stage and doing crazy shit.
right. So there's that
It's trickier.
fine tuning and carefulness and sometimes respect we should give to these portals. Sometimes it's a little bit less present in that culture, since it's just like, okay, let's cross the country in a bus and give it to everybody. You know, we're figuring it out as we go.
Yeah,
kind of
it's
vibe.
not as established culturally, I think, as ayahuasca. Obviously, there's like generations and generations of culture, you know, built around it. So it's still new, and like we've had a government that's just totally shut it down in the whole research of it and like the potential and like all of like there's so much potential, I feel like, for healing. For me, it was depression, like suicidal thoughts, like all sorts of like darkness. And it was like when I saw that light come out of the sky, it was like, and I heard the silence, it was just like, there's a reason for all of this pain. So it was.
So it's a meaningful
huge.
portal to oversoul or higher frequency entities to communicate something positive to you.
Totally. And I think if you had more of an established set and setting and like you like what I do is I usually treat like I do like a meditation before I set intentions. I like, you know, sage my house, sage myself. I like, you know, I really invest my time into, you know, being very intentional with it myself. I treat it as if I was like had my own little ayahuasca center or whatever, you know, just you know, so just working it with it that way, very intentionally, and not doing it with random people and doing it in my own safe space really brings my experience, best experiences.
Right, because I guess when you open up that portal, if you just leave it up to chance, perhaps some more darker entities who come from through too and communicate?
And you could be left open. Yeah, potentially, definitely. I've had some weird experiences doing it the wrong way, you know, not respecting myself and the substance. So it's definitely, I think it needs to be treated with just as much care like ayahuasca does. We just don't have like that backbone of that, you know, culture.
Traditional foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Alex Gray has this story that we've heard a couple times about how he met his wife when he did acid the first time in his life. You got a similar story with your partner, right?
Yeah, weirdly. So I met him at a party.
What's his name?
Luis.
Luis.
Yeah, I met Luis at a party, and I was young, like 21 or 20. I was 20. Tripping at a party, and he starts running at me and just hugging me, telling me, smoke DMT. I'm like, this weird guy at this party. I'm like, I don't know. Later on, I did end up trying it with him, and like within instant, like seconds, like the weird guy at the party turned into the most important person in my life. And I was like, is this what DMT does to you? Mm-hmm. And 4 months later, we started dating.
Okay, it took that long.
Yeah, like I mean, I went home then and I was like, I don't know what the hell that was. I was like, kept going about my life, went back to school, and then there was like a festival in North Florida, and I went, and then like we tripped, and we started dating ever since then. And within like 6 months, I had like another DMT trip that, like, I saw us as we are now, and then time was passing and we were growing old together. And there was like these two angels praying over us, and they were Alex and Allison, and I was like, what the? And then he was vomiting the whole time. It was just, I was like, this is amazing. But it was like this weird thing that happened early on that I couldn't control. Alex Gray has shown up in a bunch of my DMT trips, like as an angel, like frequently.
Nice.
It's like I'm not looking for this.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that was kind of like an early on thing that showed me like that we're this thing, and then yeah, it's been 8 years and we're getting married next Saturday.
Yeah. Nice, congratulations.
Thanks.
So 8 years together, you're getting married in a week. You decided to have your marriage 1 week after Basel because you're crazy like that.
Yeah.
And you just bought this beautiful home.
Yeah, things are good.
So you're showered in blessings right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I finally have like my launch pad to create art and my business correctly because I've been like in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like I was like on the floor in my living room for 4 years. So
How's the business going?
it's good. It's been great. I started last January 2020 full time art. I quit the restaurant. I had been working.
Perfect time to
Yeah.
dive right into art, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It was weird timing with the pandemic and everything, but luckily, like I had created a painting that kind of went viral in 2018, and that really like set the stage for me to just spread my wings and fly. So like once I sold that painting and I invested in prints, started my Shopify store, and then I left the restaurant like within like a few months of that. So then it all just kind of like lined up. I prayed every day for like 2 years. I worked at the restaurant and I hated it so bad. But every day I was like, I'm a full-time artist. I'm a full-time artist. After I would do my yoga, set my intentions, and like I would just like kept saying, I like be like putting the salt, pepper, and shaker like every night, like doing the same thing at the restaurant, just being like, I'm a full-time artist. Something's gotta give.
Nice.
Yeah. So
And now you're manifesting.
yeah.
So how does your business work? You sell original paintings, you do some products?
Yeah,
Tell me a
so
little about
I'm
it.
still, I'm still expanding and figuring it out, but I luckily I sold original paintings that was like the first thing that started happening for me, which is when I started investing in the prints. And then I got like a pillow. It's like my first product that I did.
Oh yeah, Pillow's the first product?
Yeah.
That's quite unusual.
I guess.
People start with t-shirts, but...
Yeah, I know. That I just started a t-shirt recently, so that came after the pillow.
But I guess the pillow is a nice thing to hug when you're tripping.
Yeah. But you can hug the light.
Aww.
From the trip that I was talking about. So yeah, I just started doing t-shirts and hoodies, just like a limited run. I'm trying to figure out, like, still have to figure all that out. I've just been moving and getting settled. I really, what's worked for me best this year was, and last year, I started doing like watercolor paintings that took quicker than my other paintings. And then I would print the watercolor paintings on archival watercolor paper, which really looks like a watercolor painting. So then I add hand embellishments, which is like another added charge, and that's been doing really well. I've sold out of a few of the limited edition runs, and that's kind of like been the little engine. And then I'm in the midst of, like, I want to do like 4 big dense works in 2022. Like ideally, we'll see.
Go back to the mega painting.
Yeah, I want to keep doing these like paintings that have so many details in every part that you like, that you keep finding more stuff. And it's like, I don't know if it's like I'm abusing myself by doing that, but I just love it. I crave it. So I
love
really
it
want to
too.
go with what I crave. And
I take turns, like, for years. Like, this year's a mega painting year. This is a smaller canvas year, because you can't just do mega paintings, because few people can buy the big ones and more people want the small ones, but you can't do small ones while doing the big ones, so you kind of...
And then the big ones kind of like expand your audience, like you get more followers or more like new eyes on your work, but then like you like you said, you go into the cycle of like the smaller works. And so yeah, but 2022 I have a few paintings that I'm really like excited about to work on. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, what's the topics? Tell me, Sally, can you paint them before you do? You don't have to tell me if you want to.
Well, just like more cartoon, but like cartoon, like just having the funnest, craziest time on the canvas.
Oh, I love that.
So I have a
shit.
new cartoon piece that's gonna be big, just more wild than ever.
Yeah.
And then other topics that I'm still figuring out, but I like to do some controversial stuff, but I also am just waiting for like the right idea at the right time.
So let's go back to the topic of your current works. You do obviously psychedelic work, and you got the cartoon vibe going in, and then you got the sexual thing going in. Please tell me how they all tie in so nicely. What's happening in your head, Stella? You seem to live a very fun life.
Well, you know, I had this weird phenomenon where when I used to trip LSD, where I would have SpongeBob visuals, and
SpongeBob shows up to your acid trips? All right.
yeah, like, you know, you're talking about the beings that communicate with you. I was getting SpongeBob, like, I couldn't help it, and it was like, I guess SpongeBob was such a big part of my childhood, and cartoons were like a big part of my life, that I was just like, all my visuals were like turning into SpongeBob in all sorts of different ways. So it was kind of like this mixture of like these, you know, and the clouds represent, like, they used to always tell me I was a space cadet in elementary school and middle school. My heads were in the clouds, and I was like all out there and stuff. So it's kind of like me being like, yeah, I make money off of this shit. But not just that, but it's also like me being like,
representing,
you know,
your cloud world, your heaven.
expressing where I'm at, you know, and expressing all these things. So I feel like the female depictions I do, the sexual female depictions with the clouds, and it's kind of like me expressing these feelings and these experiences and having fun getting to express these, you know, like them getting to be seen, you know, because I've had so many of these crazy, delicious, amazing experiences that I'm like, you know, they're starting to just come out.
How do you pass it on to others, right?
Yeah.
There's this, like, you know, what's the fine line between something that's sexual and elegant and expressive and joyful and beautiful and celebrating our sexual powers, and crossing that line into something that becomes more raunchy and porno?
Yeah.
You know, like, how do you measure that yourself?
I guess, like, it's just, I don't really like have to think about it because I have a fine eye. Like, you know, sometimes I have been insulted by some people who like have looked at my art and call it porn art. But yeah, no, I feel like if I'm staying true to myself, and I consider myself a respectful person, you know, I get to express the female, like, pleasure and experiences, and we need more art of that, you know, like, it's kind of been, maybe the female orgasm has been suppressed, or the, you know, female pleasure has been suppressed. So it's like, it's tastefully done. I don't know, I don't exactly have like
I think so.
Yes or no kind of thing, but it's kind of like, you know, that sweet spot where I feel like if somebody is looking at it, I'm not gonna be so you know, I'm not gonna be discomfort. What's the word? Uncomfortable.
Right.
But if it makes them feel uncomfortable, it's kind of on them.
It's their own reflection. But, well, the reason why I'm asking is because it does take some kind of like elegance to express that aspect of yourself without both getting raunchy or dirty, and also milking the sexual side of things, because sex sells, you know? Like, you put, like, you know, like painting a hot check in a sexual thing, you know, it will sell, but that's not your intention, as I know. Same with me, like, sometimes I want to express a little bit of my sexuality and, like, you know, throw some boobs in the mix or some dicks and shit. And I'm like, oh, am I, like, you know, dirtying my art? Like, as a man, you know, we're quote unquote more, I don't know, perverted perhaps, or that's the perception of us. So I gotta be extra careful to not throw a bunch of dicks in my paintings, because I don't want to offend anyone and shove it in their faces.
Yeah, I guess I guess it's coming from a genuine place, so it resonates, and I'll keep that in mind, but it's also kind of just like, I just fuck it, I need to make this shit.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Thank you for being you and expressing yourself honestly and fully.
Yes.
So you're part of a street gang called the Visionary Muses.
Oh yeah.
We've had a couple of them on this show.
Oh cool.
Including Spiro, who you painted for that project. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
So Visionary Muses, it all started actually at your ayahuasca retreat. Elisa was the one that like had the idea, and I had recently done a workshop with Elisa and Domi Moon with the Grays, like the year before. So I guess she went on to that workshop, met Spiro and Ariani, and then they all kind of like came up with this idea together to get a group of us painting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then they reached out to us. I was like, I'm on board, and we just started the first round. It was 11 people, and then we all painted each other. It was really cool.
Who painted you?
Emily Kell. Which
Oh,
was
wow.
awesome.
You're
Yeah,
just
I was like, oh my god.
I want to see that painting.
Yeah, it's good.
Did
It's
she
good.
make you super sexual
Yeah,
and stuff?
well,
Because she also paints nudes.
yeah,
and
so
stuff.
it was a great fit. It was good.
Yeah.
It was, you know, I had been such a fan of hers for so many years, and then I had just met her in Amanda's workshop in 2019, and then the Visionary Muses started the next year. So it was just like, it's amazing when your art heroes become your friends, like you. Yeah, we did the first round, and it was during the pandemic, so it was kind of like, you know, good because we could all keep meeting every month, and we had like this group of girls to
You need
chat.
a community.
Yeah, and then so yeah, we did our show online. I guess it was like a virtual gallery.
How was painting Spiro? Have you ever met her in person?
I haven't met her in person, but she's coming.
Yeah,
she's coming down.
yeah,
So I'm
she's
gonna meet
coming.
her, I think, tomorrow or
She's
Thursday.
a tornado of energy.
Yeah, she's cool. She's got the bright colors. I feel her on that.
Yeah, it's interesting how on her portrait it's not so colorful.
I know, weird, right? I don't know what happened.
But it's all right. It's almost like, you know, she's so colorful on the outside that maybe you went like a layer behind and tapped into this like deep, powerful moon mama
Yeah.
that's in front of Sacsayhuaman, where I actually got to hang out with her in March.
Yeah, and that was right when I finished the painting and when we like did our show. It was
Right, I
like just at
remember.
the same time.
And that was at the same time of many other things
Yeah,
happening.
it's been a wild year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it was good. It was I kind of just like went in a different direction just to explore like other things. And it's not like my most typical type
It's
of
different
work.
from your usual.
Yeah,
I love it. It's very. I love purple.
Yeah.
My living room's purple because I find it so elegant.
Okay.
So I find it's
Yeah.
it taps into this more elderly aspect of her, like less of the playful like la 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 craziness and more of the like I got the power, I'm gonna fix the
Yeah.
shit that I'm doing from the background.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that happened, and then we started our second round this past couple months.
Okay.
And
You're participating in this round too, or
Yeah.
is it new people?
I have the piece right there. I don't know if we pull it out, but
Oh, is that who's this?
that's Simone.
Simone. Oh, is that the woman who's painting you a bunch?
Sarah.
Yes.
Sarah.
Sarah what?
Vacciarello.
Okay, where's she from? She's super good, eh?
Yeah, she's living in New York. I think she also teaches painting. She's a direct painter, which is something I really aspire to do.
What does that mean, direct painter?
So like I'm doing all of these whites. I do like the layer of the whites, and I build the form, and then I put the layers of color over it, and then I put darks and more lights and more color, and it's like this layering thing that builds. But she's like getting oil, and she's directly rendering like the whole face at one time.
Right.
And maybe she'll go in with glazes and like details after, but yeah, she's really
What's that?
amazing.
What that called? Al pasto or?
Impasto?
Yeah.
That's not impasto.
I suck at the names of oils because I don't even oil paint much myself.
Yeah.
You mostly do oils or?
I mostly do acrylic. Mostly acrylic, watercolor, and then oils. And I really want to keep doing the oils just so I can keep that like skill building.
But you do casein also.
When I do, this is not casein.
Okay.
This is acrylic,
Okay.
white acrylic.
So with just like a lot of water or medium?
Water, no medium. I don't like varnish either. I'm weird.
And what is it? Like a bunch of little lines?
Yeah, and I've gotten a groove with it to a point where like it's kind of like picking a guitar. Like I'm just like, yeah. And
Okay.
I pretty much I water down the white. I dab the brush onto like a paper towel just so the excess water gets taken off, and then you go in with the darker or the more white parts first, and then. Yeah, and like in college, I was like in trouble a lot with one of my teachers because she says I was drawing with paint and I wasn't painting. And
What's wrong with that?
it's like, that's what I do. So sometimes people think it's like colored pencils. But it's just because I do a lot of hatching. And that's because it goes back to when Carrie taught me. We did egg tempera, which I don't know if you've ever messed with egg tempera, but all those little hatch marks you have to make.
Yeah.
And then like I started doing the casein and the acrylic whites, and I was like, I could just do that here. And then I just built a rhythm with it.
Maddie Clark Wayne, my favorite artist, or one of my favorite ones, did that a lot. I don't know if you ever see. Do you know Maddie Clark Wayne?
I'm sure I do, but I don't.
He did the cover for Abraxa Santana. He did the cover for Bitches Brew, Miles Davis.
You have to show me.
And a bunch more. So he was one of Robert Venosa's teachers.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Maddie Clark Wayne learned from Ernst Fuchs.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love Maddie Clark Wayne more than Ernst Fuchs. Like Ernst Fuchs does it very good and he's very weird, but Maddie Clark Wayne, he was like, late 60s hippie.
The images are good.
And it was so detailed. And the way he went is you can, like when I look at an album cover, because I haven't seen an original in person yet, it's all like you can see little lines and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So that's nice. I like what you do. This painting you're working right now is super clean. So
Thanks.
Good job getting further.
I'm getting faster and getting more like clean with my lines and like, like you can see my casein game is not as good as my acrylic game.
Oh yeah.
But you just gotta keep practicing both. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super nice. So we're talking about visionary muses before, and do you also do visionary train?
Yeah, so I was on the vision train a lot in the beginning of the pandemic. I remember you had a good interview on there, and I met a lot of people like Anya and like just so many people that I had not been friends with before. And then I kind of slowed down on the vision train and started moving, and I just kind of also like,
Well, in Florida, you were never really locked up, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, I was in an apartment, which like working out of a one-bedroom apartment is kind of feels like you're locked up. But we were free to do stuff. People were partying the whole time. Miami just doesn't stop.
And did that make the situation more dangerous? Like other places locked down hard, like Canada, and Florida was very free.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Florida got like?
I don't know.
crazy?
Some people.
What did you see?
People said that it was worse, or we were like the problem, and like Florida did spike at some point, and it was like really bad. But like from my experience, like I don't know, it's still been all right. Like
that's what I asked. Like I came here after 2 years of not being here, and it's like, so was Florida like super terrible? And they're like, dude, it's being chill. Like I barely know people who've gotten sick, and I was like, how much is just media telling me how things are and how much really is? Like
my family definitely got sick. I never got it. Everybody, like my mom and dad, everybody got it. But everybody was, recovered. And I don't know. I'm just glad we haven't had all those crazy mandates. And things have still been going. So,
right. That's good. You can keep on living your life in a happy way. Like, what else are we gonna do?
Yeah, luckily we've been blessed over here. I mean, like, everybody has their own opinion, but it was, for me, I was happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
nice.
Still am. So.
Well, another reason for me to move here.
Yeah.
So you don't get too super political in your art, but some of your most popular paintings are political, right?
Well,
you're the famous artist who did the painting of Trump doing ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Like whenever somebody's like, "Oh, do you see this painting?" It's like, "Oh, yeah, it's my friend Stella." And that's a hilarious proposition. What if the leaders of the world, let's get past Trump, but everybody, Biden and everybody, just do some inner work to find what's their truth and serve from the light.
Yeah. That was like. I had been praying for a vision that would change my life. I was like working at the restaurant. Well, at the time I was actually working at a school, but I was just very miserable with my daily work. And I was just like praying, like if I could just get a vision that would just change my life in ways unimaginable. So every day with my little yoga routine, I would like kept praying for that. And then I had a DMT trip where I see Trump in like this hippie shirt, smoking DMT, like, and then it progresses to him leading people to do ayahuasca, and as they're doing ayahuasca, it's like the Trump attitudes, like more, bigger doses. There's like more purging, and as the purging is happening, the earth is healing, and like earth is like, don't worry, there's enough DMT on this planet to heal all of our toxic parts. As if like these people that may be toxic, or these toxic people are extensions of the earth's toxicity, and as if this is all one organism, you know. That was how I saw it in the time. And then
might be prophetic, you know, like maybe not people smoking DMT, but maybe something will stimulate more natural releases of our spiritual molecules and realize what reality is about, so we can live according to, you know, harmony.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like I did not even think about any of that shit, and I was really like not into watching the news, not into any political views. Like I was like staying away from all of that. So the fact that it happened, like I come out of it, I'm like looking at Louis, I'm cracking up. We're laughing and laughing. I'm like working at a terrible job. It was just like such a weird time. And then I just like 6 months later, I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta make this painting. So then that happened, and that changed everything. I doubled my following in 6 months and sold the painting.
Because everybody was just sharing it.
Yeah, like, and people, I was in Amsterdam at buying mushrooms at like this little store, and the guy selling it to me is like talking to me, and I'm like show him the painting. I'm like, yeah, I'm an artist. And I show him Trump doing ayahuasca. He's like, I know this painting. I'm like, cool. And then some guy in the store looks at me and goes, you're Stella. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I follow Chris Dyer. I found you through Chris Dyer. And I was like, oh shit. It was so weird. All at the same time, I was like someone pinched me.
Wow, that's
like
so
dream.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're all connected. Yeah, it's so trippy to go to a place so far away from home and still be recognized for your art.
I was like, really? Like, I was just like, it was like the remnants of that prayer that I have been praying for. Like, I was like, wow, I would have never thought this, you know? So I pray for things that just blow my mind, because why not? But yeah, so that was like became like my first political piece, which, you know, in the vision I didn't have Kim Jong-un and Putin, but he was leading ignorant people. That was like so then I personified those two, because I was like, why not, you know? Let's put all the...
But it's more like it becomes like a global message as opposed to like a specifically American
like,
thing,
yes.
you know?
It becomes like an idea. It could be used, you know, for systems, you know, not just people, and not just like...
Politics in general.
Yeah, and in consciousness, and, you know, it could be seen in many different ways. So this was just like one way. I just had a really good time laughing while I made it. Like, it's just something about it was so funny to me. So then I got to share it at Cosm, and like everybody else got to laugh with me too. It was really hilarious. But that one was really like not intentional. It was just, it happened. And once I was creating it, it was intentional. It was fun, but it was like random.
It wasn't necessarily a political painting, but it was a spiritual painting about politics.
Yeah.
So that was that tie-in.
Yeah.
But the next painting you did was specifically
more political, and I learned a lot doing that. It, you know, it's a whole topic, and
it's a subject matter of quite division.
Yeah, and that one was like more of like me using my privilege as a white female to give voice back to people who have lost their voice, and that was like the intention behind the whole thing. It's like I would like to use my privilege in a way that could serve the story and help this narrative that keeps getting taken from people, or, you know, rearranged and all these things. And like, you know, I understand there's a lot of people who might not agree with me, and I learned a lot doing that, but from where it came from, and, you know, it was like,
your intentions were to empower the disempowered.
Yeah, and to be, my idea was like, I want this to be in a museum, because it was really inspired by the mass sharing of information during like the whole George Floyd protests. I felt like we could finally hear how people were really feeling through social media, and like it was so much sharing that I was like, this is psychedelic as fuck. Like Like we can like really hear.
It's like the whole world was going through something together.
Yeah.
It's like a tense week, but it's at least something we are all living together and trying to figure it out in our own internal crucibles.
Yeah. And then like, so at the bottom of the painting, you have like all the phones sharing, and like each phone has like a story of like all the different things that were going on. It was so much work, but it was just like, I just wanted that moment to be remembered and written into history, because I feel like history keeps getting rewritten or edited by the people in power, and you know, I just wanted to put my little edit to the story.
And do you still feel the same way towards that painting now?
Yeah, I might regret putting Trump at the top, because then that kind of polarized the piece, and people just automatically assume that I am like a Democrat and I believe this, and that, and that's like, this is my agenda. And I was like, no, like this is totally not what's going on. But you know, he just happens to be the guy that doesn't give a shit about what's going on, and he's sitting at the top right now. And you know, he also, in my eyes, was, you know, embodying this figure that has been throughout many different presidencies.
Yeah, the corrupt president.
Yeah, just like, you
archetype.
know. Yeah, so I was just like, that's not the main focus, but that was so triggering for people. Like once they saw that, they knew like I was part of some agenda. So then I was like, okay, I had to be careful with what I do in the future, but it was also cool that I just did, and I didn't give a fuck. And I sold the painting, so that was good.
That's a good
and
job.
The woman I sold it to is going to be donating it to a museum when she dies.
No.
So it's
cool.
Gonna do its job.
That's what one client told me before he died.
Right? See.
Once he died, I don't know. I've been trying to contact his wife and be like, he said he was gonna donate to a museum. I want to make a museum, but she just doesn't do email. She's kind of like older lady, so I hope it comes into reality for you.
Let's see. We'll find out.
Totally. So do you have any goals for, you know, well, this year is almost over, and you're probably achieving all your goals by buying the house and getting married and moving forward with your career. But like, what's in the future for you?
Definitely.
Is 2022 going to be even better?
We'll see. I mean, yeah, I just am really excited to just spend time finally having a studio and like just getting completely lost in my work and making, like I said, I want to make a few big dense pieces. That's like my main focus. And
I envy you. I want to do that too.
Yeah, like that's my craving. That's the craving. I would like to also maybe like do some digital art, like maybe like some sort of like art to put on products. Like I'd like to experiment with that. And yeah, NFTs, trying to figure that out, and my whole roadmap and strategy. And I'm really interested in crypto, like just kind of like starting to like wrap my head around it, and I'm super excited about all that.
The potential's infinite.
Yeah, and maybe if you move to Florida, we'll have some art parties.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, I'll keep on exploring as I find my way, and yeah, who knows, we'll make a little visionary crew down here.
Yeah, we'll empower the Moksha thing.
Moksha family.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, we're coming to the end of our interview. Is there any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our millions and millions of followers?
Yeah, I don't know. Just thank you to everyone who supported me and for listening, and do what you got to do. Follow your creative cravings. Don't let like anything just stop you, or like if you like wake up in the middle of the night and you just like really want to do it, like you want to really like just create the creative craving, even if it's really weird or like people might hate you for it.
Gotta do your thing honestly and purely.
Yeah.
Well, good job for doing that, Stella. Woo! And thank you, the viewers of this humble show. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and just supporting this project in general so we can keep on sharing these beautiful guests we have over. So have a good one. I'll see you next week or next episode. Woo! Blessings! Next episode, my guest will be Illuminati Congo.
I'm noticing people want to contribute, love. They want to make things healthier and contribute to a more healthy society, physically, mentally. So it does seem optimistic to me. I could focus on things that would make it not seem optimistic to me, but love always goes so much further than anything resisting that.
So please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Big thanks, and see you next episode. Peace.